Tea Party a number of times, and whenever I had to come to speak, I always had to get a bigger room for the number of people coming here to speak. Jan is affectionately referred to as the First Lady of the Second Amendment. Jan Morgan is a nationally recognized warrior for gun rights in America. For the past 5 years, she's also been a major player on the national battlefield for educating people about the Islamization of America. Over the past 12 months, Jan was the keynote speaker for over 30 events in 13 states. She's been on stage with Glenn Senate and cruised by country and leaders of every national settlement organization. For 2 decades, Jan was an Associated Press award-winning veteran investigator on television journalism. She and her husband own the gun cave and indoor shooting range here in Hot Springs, a marvelous citizen facility. She's an NRA and state police certified firearms instructor. She's trained over 2,000 people in the past year across America. And most recently, many of you have probably seen things in the newspaper and on Facebook because of the liberal meltdown and an international fire with her controversial article, if you remember, My Gun Range is a Muslim Zone. Now, as you watch Dan Morgan, one of the things that our Tea Party always does is we always have a contest trying to guess where her concealed weapon is kept. This is Jan Morgan, our good friend and wonderful leader.
Thank you. What an incredible crowd. I'm so excited about this today because you see, the South Carolina State Tea Party Alliance held their convention and invited me to come up and speak on the Second Amendment. And those folks in South Carolina have been doing these convention things, the state convention, for years and years. And their crowd was about like this. So this is the inaugural, right, Dr. Jack? Hands off to you guys. You are amazing. I'm so excited about this. This is encouraging to me. And I was looking around the room earlier when I first arrived, and I was thinking, gosh, these people look familiar to me. And I finally figured out why. It's because you're all on the radical right-winger, extremist, domestic terrorist watch list of the federal government. It's okay because if the founding fathers were alive today, they would be at the top of the list right here with us. You know who else is on that list right now that I'm really beginning to get a handle on is really upsetting me? And that is our nation's veterans. I wrote an article on my website, janmorganmedia.com, a couple of days ago. I don't know if you all have seen this story yet, but here's the deal. You're not going to believe this, but it's true. Our veterans, when they come home from putting their lives on the line for your freedom, my freedom, and for the liberty of people all over the world, our fine men and women, they come home, and guess what happens to them when they get home? They are disarmed by our federal government. The National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Those of you who have ever purchased a firearm and you don't have a gun permit, then if you go to buy a firearm at the store, you have to go through this background check. This is what my story was about. Right now, it has been discovered that our Veterans Administration is delivering the largest list of American citizens who are on a gun ban list on that system. 99% of all the names of American citizens on that ban list that goes to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System are coming from the VA. And here's the worst part. The people on that list, a majority of them have not been to the VA to get treated for PTSD. They're not there some sort of depression or mental illness. But the VA, if you are a veteran and you go to the VA for some sort of medical help, and you ask for financial assistance with this, the VA is automatically categorizing you as mentally defective. Not my words, their website. Mentally defective. And then you are banned from getting a gun. Let me tell you, yes, I'm going to do that in just a second. The chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, you know Chuck? He is so angry about this that he has written a letter to Eric Holder and said, I want answers. Do something about this. Now, if there's anyone in this room that really thinks Eric Holder is going to do something about this, would you please meet me over there after this is over? Because I have some oceanfront property in Kansas for sale, and I will let it go today cheap. Well, heck, Eric Holder supposedly still investigating me, but I've yet to see him. Oh, you all didn't hear about that? Well, I'm still here. I'm not jailed yet. So, I don't know what's up with that, but glad to be here. I would like, if you are a veteran, if you served in any branch of service at any time, I would like you to please stand for us, because we want to thank you. Vietnam veterans here, please tell us who the Vietnam veterans, because those guys got the worst end of the deal. 2? You 2? Yes, sir? 3, 4? Good. Thank you so much. I thank all of you. Those guys really have. And not only do we want to thank you today for your service, I want to apologize to you for the way our government has treated you under our watch. It is a disgrace. And I vouch to you, I'm not an elected official, but I'm going to keep pounding away every day. I'm going to keep bringing this to the forefront. I'm going to fight for veterans' rights, just like I'm fighting for every American's gun rights. So help me stay on top of this. And that's just one way. We have veterans have been getting slammed by our government for decades. This is not new. What I'm telling you today is just the newest insult. Only because I'm a Second Amendment advocate, this is bigger than an insult. And I'm no conspiracy theorist or anything, but I'm looking at this and saying, why would the government want to disarm our veterans? Because veterans are the most highly skilled, trained Americans on firearms in war. And if there's anything the government fears most right now, it is an armed citizenry. That's why they want to disarm us. So let's talk just a little bit about the Second Amendment. Since I'm not being videotaped today, the last speech I did was a video camera they had fit because I walked around the audience. But I like to be up close and personal with the people that I'm talking to. So I'm sorry if we're videotaping them.
Yeah.
So good luck. You're going to have to try to keep up with me, okay?
Okay.
Let's talk Second Amendment.
There's another one over there.
What I have learned while traveling the nation and speaking to, it's different groups bring me in. It might be the Republican Party, it might be the Tea Party, it might be a Second Amendment organization. There are various groups that call me and say, would you come speak at our event? Or, hey, while you're here, would you take your gun class? That's why, Dr. Jack, I've ended up teaching thousands of people all over the country, because wherever I go to speak, I end up staying over a day or two and teaching a gun class. No, I'm not going to trip on that. I saw you watching me, Josh. But I know you would grab me if I did, right? It's my bodyguard right here. Josh and Janice, they both taken my class. Well, you did. She did. That's why she shoots better than you. I'm honored to say, too, that I trained for the Sheriff's Department. Mike McCormick, Sheriff McCormick's wife, came to our range to win that class. She's quite a shooter too, Mike. Don't make her mad. Here's the deal, folks. I need you to be on fire about the Second Amendment too. And here's why. Even if you're not a gun person, you don't have to own guns. You don't have to be a gun nut. You don't have to be a gun collector to understand and appreciate and be an advocate for the Second Amendment. All right? Here's why it's important. Because our founding fathers, who were apparently much smarter than we are, they said it's important. Because they understood, after being under tyranny, they fled. And the one thing that our founding fathers knew was essential to a successful America is liberty. And they also knew that the only way you can defend liberty is to have an armed population. That's why they didn't say the armed government's army has a right to bear arms. They said the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It didn't say the right of the people who the government deems mentally fit. It doesn't say the right of the people who took Jen Morgan's gun class and she says their marksmanship passes. It doesn't say the right of the people who pass background checks. It says the right of the people. And the reason our government did that is because they knew that once you start infringing, that's what, is there anybody here that doesn't know what infringe? Do not infringe. That's like a statement. It's not a but on the end of that. It's a statement. Shall not be infringed. And for those of you who say, I hear this all over the country when I travel, I hear patriots say, and they don't know any better, and I try not to snap at them, but I hear them say, well, the Second Amendment is my gun right. I don't have to pay attention to the state laws and whatever. Like, yes, you do. Because those laws were passed under your watch, and when you do not abide by the laws, makes you a criminal. And we're not criminals. If you don't like the laws, then you work to change them. Right? Well, I'm here to tell you that the Second Amendment is not your gun permit. Because that's saying that I have permission from the government to bear arms. Remember, what the government gives, the government can take away. So when you give the government that much power and say the Second Amendment is the government gives us my permission to carry guns. No, it's not. The Second Amendment is a statement to the government, not permission from the government. It's a statement to the government that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Period. There are over 30,000 gun control laws on the books right now in this country. Every single one of them are infringements and in violation of the Second Amendment. And all of that, folks, has happened under our watch. So you can't blame President Obama. You can't blame the Democrats. The only people to blame for the fact that we are daily losing our gun rights and being infringed upon is us. Why? Because we're good people. Because we've been working hard to pay for all these people that won't work. We've got to support all those people, right? We get up every day, we go to work, we work hard, we take care of our kids, we come home from school and from work, we fix them dinner, we help them with their homework, and we give them their baths, we take them to their extracurriculars, and they do that. And by the time you done all that, you're just like, I have to bed, so I can do this all over again tomorrow. We've been living the American dream, and that's wonderful, except that while we've been living the American dream, the enemies to America have been very intelligent, very effective, and they've been working behind our backs in virtually every facet of our society and every branch of our government while we weren't paying attention. And unfortunately, we believe in this concept that, well, you know, I'm going to elect the right people. I'm going to vote the right person in. and we vote for these people to represent us, and then we send them to D.C., and they misrepresent us. They don't do what they said they were going to do. Well, we said, well, how's that my fault then? I did what I was supposed to do. I vetted the person, I elected them. Okay, but did you keep them accountable? How many times have you called your representative and said, you know what, you told me. For example, when David Sterling was running for Attorney General of Arkansas and Leslie Trumpage, both of them approached me and asked for my support. I said, okay, well, here's the deal breaker. Leslie, I want stand your ground in Arkansas. I want open carry to be clearly legal, no questions about it, in Arkansas. I want constitutional carry. Now, firearms instructors don't like me to say that because that's their bread and butter. I'm a firearms instructor, but I'm an American first. I can make money other way. I want to see American citizens not be prevented. I don't want American citizens, law-abiding citizens, to be prevented from carrying guns because they can't afford to take a class, or they can't afford to send the money into the state. $139 to the state to get your permit. Any questions now about why state police don't want us to eliminate that? Can you imagine? Somebody's getting rich over there. I know I teach about 18 to 20 people a week just here in Hot Springs in one class. Now, you multiply that with the number of instructors in the state. And by the way, I don't charge you for my concealed handgun permit class, because that just goes against my grain. I do charge you for an NRA basic pistol class. And then I say, oh, by the way, here's your certificate of training for concealed handgun permit. Because what I teach in my NRA class is much more thorough anyway than what most concealed carry instructors are teaching in their CHCL class, because most of that includes the law. Most of the instructors in the state teach the minimal 5 hours, and some of you can attest to the fact that there are instructors in the state who say, give me $50 and here's your certificate of training, which is illegal. I've asked state police to do an undercover audit of instructors, because half the people in my classes, people in my classes today. I taught another class today. I was teaching class before I came over here. I'm still teaching class. When I leave here, I have to go back and put on my jeans, my cowboy boots, and get right back at it. My students are there with some other instructors right now. My husband went in there. When we teach our class, we're required by law to train you for 5 hours. We teach you 8 hours plus. And then on top of that, I say, once you're one of my students, you're always one of my students. So that means from now on, when you want to practice with your gun, until you're tactically confident, you come to my range, and I will not charge you for private instruction. You're mine now. I want you to be confident. Because what we don't want is a bunch of citizens running around with guns that are dangerous not only to themselves, but everyone in their presence. You need to be safe gun enforcers. And if you didn't get a class, if you're one of those people who got a permit, and you didn't get the training, I want you to give me a call and let's work something out so we can get you trained, okay? Because walking around with a gun and not having shot that gun in 3-4 years, it's irresponsible, people. It's irresponsible. You're carrying a gun, you're in a public place, some crazy guy comes in and puts a gun to the little girl at the cashier's head in that restaurant and says, give me the money, give me the money. What are you going to do? You're standing there with your gun, what are you going to do? Are you going to get involved and try to take him out? Or are you going to stand there and say, oh my gosh, I haven't shot this thing in 5 years, oh no, I'm not getting an innocent bystander. Well, you can't do that. You need to be tactically competent. Let's get back to the Second Amendment thing now. Here's why I need to transform you if you're not already. It sounds like I got some pretty transformed people here, but if you're not already, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. I want a no-compromise person representing me in my state. Your state and local elections are extremely important. Your sheriff back there, Sheriff McCormick, who I endorse, by the way, and proudly supported, your sheriff has more power in your county than the President of the United States. Did you know that? He is critical, which is why when he came to my range and talked to me, I said, well, here's how I feel. And I knew after talking to him and talking to his opponent that he was the best man for the job, without a doubt. Now, here's the hard part. When you start making a stand for candidates, you start making enemies, don't you? It's hard. Well, guess what, people? You're going to have to toughen up. You're going to have to toughen up. Because we're past the days now in America, we're at a critical stage in this nation's history. We're either going to go one way or the other. And this election is going to be the turning point. And if you don't have a sheriff who's going to protect you, should things go awry, and who knows what's going to happen, and stand up for you against the government, you're in trouble. That's why I asked David Sterling and Leslie Rutledge. David said, I'm a no compromise. I'm going to do this and this. And I said, okay, David, I'm going to hold you to it. I just recorded this interview with you, so if you get elected Attorney General and you don't do this, I'm going to be your worst nightmare. And that's what I'm talking about with folks when I say you need to hold your representatives accountable. When they ask you for a vote, you say, okay, well, what are you going to do about this and this and this? But put it in writing. Say, okay, tell me right now that you're going to do this. And then if you don't, oh boy. We shouldn't have to do that, but it's our fault that it's come to that point. Okay? Now, on the Second Amendment, gun control is not about guns. Never has been. The liberal media, the progressives will tell you, oh, it's about safety. We've got to keep Americans safe. All of these people are dying because of guns. You'll see when there's a mass shooting or something horrible happens with a gun, the liberal media races to the airwaves and they can't wait to tell you all about this terrible, horrible gun and what it did to these poor little children in Connecticut, Sandy Hook, or that theater in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. They can't wait to talk about it. And then that quickly following that is another call for gun control. We've got to get rid of these guns. You know, I don't understand why we're not getting rid of cars. You know how many people get killed in cars? You know how many people die because of texting with their cell phones? What are we going to do about cell phones? But here's what the media doesn't tell you. And by the way, I was a television journalist for mainstream media for 23 years. My last job was with CBS in New Orleans. You know why I got out? Because of this. I couldn't stand the liberal bias any longer. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you about guns. Last year, 2.5 million times, law-abiding citizens pulled a gun in self-defense and saved lives. And in most of those cases, the trigger was never pulled. Simply pulling the gun stopped the threat.